I just sit down for a second. My legs are killing me. Hello. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with all the books that I acquired in June. So, I made a dent this month. I have over 20 books to haul for you guys today. I even wore my I have no shelf control shirt just for this video because I don't. My birthday was in June, so I did get a few gifts, but I also got gifted some money. And so like the second half of this haul came from like books that I got with money that family gave me, but also with like everything that's happening in the world. I think me with lots of other people took a hard look at our shelves and realized how white they are, and so I made like a bunch of purchases of Black authors because I needed to diversify my shelves because it was bad. It still is bad, but I'm trying to be better at that, and I'm trying to personally like stop waiting because some of these books I've had on my list for a while, but like I didn't buy right away and I have no reason as to why, so I just went ahead and like did it. So that's why there's so many on this list. Yeah. We have a lot of books to talk about today, so let's just get into it and haul some books. I feel like every single month I always get my Kindle books at the beginning because I have 3 books to talk about. What do my fingers do? I have 3 books to talk about that are on my Kindle that I don't physically have, and they were all at the beginning of the month. But the first one that I did end up picking up was The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith. Now this is the first in a new fantasy series, but I've had my eye on this one for a while and I found a very cheap Kindle version of it. So I'm trying to use my Kindle more because I have so many things on there that like I want to read and I just go for physical instead. But this one is about a world where all of the books that are unfinished by authors go to a very specific section of hell, and there are librarians that are in charge of that section. I think it's called the unwritten section, the unwritten wing. So it follows our main character Claire, who is head librarian in this unwritten wing, and her job is basically to repair and organize all these books, and then also keep track of the characters that have become restless and kind of materialize and want to escape the library. She has to keep them contained and in their books. But then one day, a retrieval of one of these characters goes horribly, horribly wrong. What that is, I have no idea, but I just like the idea of this unwritten wing. I think that's so cool. So the next book that I ended up picking up was Me and White Supremacy: Combat Racism, Change the World, and Become a Good Ancestor by Layla Saad. This is one of those big like nonfiction anti-racism books that were circling and still are circling around, and I found a very cheap Kindle version of this, so I decided to pick this one up. So this one works basically with people, specifically white people, dismantling racism and understanding their own privilege. So I decided to pick up a copy of this one. So the last Kindle book that I picked up is this book is Anti-Racist: 20 Lessons on How to Wake Up, Take Action, and Do the Work by Tiffany Jewell. This is targeted more towards younger readers, kind of like the YA readers, and how to like speak up and, you know, stuff like that. But this one was also a cheap Kindle buy, and it's one of those that I'd seen circling for a while, and I wanted to read it because I need to read a lot more of works like this. So I picked up a copy for my Kindle. The next one, or the first physical book that I picked this month, was Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This one I think is really big in circulation, especially right now, because it is new. It came out either in May or June, I don't exactly remember, but it is a recent release, and Elizabeth Acevedo is an author that a lot of people talk about. She writes in verse, she is a slam poet, and this is just right up that alley. This is a story told in verse about 2 girls, one who lives in Dominican Republic, look at me. So one lives in the Dominican Republic and one lives in New York City, and they both have the same dad, yet they do not know it. And at the beginning of the book, their dad actually is killed in a plane crash, and they have to deal with their own grief. learning about each other is a lot, but also having someone who understands exactly what you're going through, I think is gonna be a really touching story. This is one that sounds really good. I haven't read anything by Elizabeth Acevedo. Her books sound good. I do really want to pick up The Poet X, but this is the first one that's just like hit my core and I just wanted to read it. The next one is one that I totally stumbled across. I didn't even know it was coming out until I saw an email from Barnes & Noble that said this was their like monthly pick, and I said, that looks amazing, I must get. And that is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This is another story told in verse. This one follows, oh, I don't remember, I've read this and I don't remember his name, Michael. This follows our main character, Michael, who is a gay black boy, half black, half Greek, I want to say. Half Greek, half Jamaican, that's what it is. And he lives in London, and it follows him from the ages of 6 up until like college age as he discovers the world of drag. The next one that I picked up was Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. So this follows a girl named Juliet who is Puerto Rican and lives in the Bronx, and she has this great plan because she has an internship in Portland, and so the night before she goes to this internship, she plans to come out to her family. I believe she plans to come out to her family. And it does not go quite as planned, but she still has hope because she goes to Portland thinking it'll be great. She has an internship with this awesome lady who is like super feminist and like has authority on like women's bodies and other stuff like that. However, she is straight and white. So she doesn't think that, you know, maybe she doesn't have all the answers. But I think this is going to be like a self-discovery type of story. And I'm excited. Also, this cover is very, very pretty and very, very bright. Speaking of pretty covers, the next one is just like my favorite for this month. It's stunning. And that is A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. This follows a world where sirens exist. Yes, sirens. I'm excited. However, they are not accepted. So people who are sirens kind of keep it on the down low. And it follows 2 girls, one named Effie and one named Tavia. And Tavia is a siren. I don't know if Effie is a siren as well. But Tavia definitely is. And these 2 like best friends have to navigate their life in high school. And then after the aftermath of a siren murder trial, just kind of like escalates a lot of stuff. And then Tavia accidentally releases her voice during a police stop. So this seems like it's going to tackle like police brutality and racism under the disguise of sirens. And I am very intrigued because all I needed to know was that there were sirens in it, and I was sold. But I think it's going to tackle some hard stuff. And this cover, you guys, I've raved about this cover on this channel multiple times. This is amazing. Stunning. Just stunning. The next one that I picked up was another new release that came out in June, and that is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is a fantasy story that I have already read, so if you have not seen my wrap-up, make sure to check that one out for my thoughts on this. But it is marketed as a hate-to-love romance, but I personally don't see the hate to love, but that's a different story. But it basically takes place in this fantasy world that's based on African folklore, and it follows 2 main characters, Malik and Karina. Now, Karina is the princess of this world. However, her mother is murdered in the very, very beginning of this book, and she becomes queen and does not want that, so she finds this spell which would resurrect her mom, but she needs the heart of a king. So during this big spiritual festival that's taking place in her town, she decides that the prize is going to be whoever wins is going to marry her, and then she will take his heart to resurrect her mother. On the flip side of that, Malik is there to create a better life for himself and his sisters. However, his youngest sister is kidnapped by a spirit of sorts, and in order to get her back, the spirit says you have to kill Karina. Check out my thoughts if you want to know more. Also, another beautiful cover that is very shiny. It's hard for me to show you how pretty this is, but like, stunning. So the next book that I picked out, I did not know it was going to be tiny when I bought it, so I was very surprised by how small the box was, and then I realized. But this is What I Know About Art by Kimberly Drew. I don't know if you can see this because it's so tiny, but it seems like she's going to talk about mostly the relationship between art and protesting and activism. So I'm planning on reading this one in July, so I will let you know my thoughts on them. Is that how that's phrased? So I'll let you know what I think about it, but that is my little nonfiction that I picked up. I definitely did not know it was going to be this small. I guess I probably should have realized when it says pocket on the front, pocket change collection, but whatever. So the next one I acquired is very random, and we'll talk about it. But that is Becoming by Michelle Obama. So this one is actually my mom's copy. My dad bought it for her for Christmas, I want to say. And what mom likes to do is when she's read a book, she gives it to me and it goes in our collection, because most of the books that she has finished reading, she either thinks that I or Chris will enjoy. However, I have already read this one. I read this at the beginning of last year, I want to say. But Chris has not read it, and I would love a copy of this. So I think mom gives them to me because she knows that she can always get it back if she wants it. Plus, I think dad wants to read this at some point. But this one is now added to our collection. But I'm sure many of you know what this book is about. But it is a autobiography by Michelle Obama about mostly her time in the White House. But it does start from when she's young, how she grew up, where she met Barack, and like her version of the White House. The next book I got was a birthday gift from the lovely Teresa Love here on YouTube, so I will make sure I link her down below, because if you're not following her, who are you and why aren't you doing it? But that is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire. She found this on my Amazon wish list and got it for me because we talked about how much I enjoyed the first one, because I read the first one last month. I'm excited. So I'm sure many people know, but Every Heart a Doorway, the first in this series, takes place in like this boarding home for kids who find portals to other worlds, kind of like Alice did with Wonderland, but have been sent back to the real world, or like our world, and have to adjust to life here. And so it's this house for all of them, trying to adjust, but also trying to figure out how to find their worlds again. And this is the second in the series, but it follows Jack and Jill, and it's kind of like a prequel, so we go into their world. And Jack's my favorite character in the series, so I'm very excited about this. Ooh, love it. But she also, quick plug for her, she also gave me some fun bookmarks from her Etsy shop, which is Itsy Bitsy Craft Shop, so like, go check her out. But I have a fun little birthday. And then I have this one, which is my two favorite colors, teal and purple. And then, of course, we have a Hufflepuff, because it's my favorite, and I'm scared to use it, so it just sits on my shelf and is decoration. But thank you for those, Teresa, and thank you for the new book. I'm very excited to read this. Speaking of gifts from friends, the next two books are gifts, birthday gifts from my best friend, Lauren. But that is the 4th and 5th Harry Potter in the UK paperback. I do want to say, though, as a disclaimer for this channel and me personally, I feel like I need to put these down when I talk about this. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but with everything that the author of said series has said, I do not agree with her. Trans women are women. Trans men are men. I don't understand why that is debatable anymore. So I personally will not be spending money or having my money go towards the author of said series. I still love Harry Potter. I don't think I can ever cut it out completely from my life, because it is such a big part of my childhood, and like I have a lot of nostalgia attached to it. But also, like most people I think on the internet now, the community belongs to the fans and not the author. Like when I think of Harry Potter, I don't think of the author. I think of a loving community, and I think of the school and the fantasy and like the physical story. But I just wanted to make that statement of like, I personally will not have my money go towards said human, and we do not agree with her in this channel. We like to be welcoming, so just my 2 cents. Lauren did pick up these covers for me. It's really weird for me to see the 5th one in not blue, like it's full-on red. What? I've only ever known the US hardcover, which is full blue, so this is just, oh, these covers are gorgeous. Like, I don't know if you can see how. I'm sure people in the UK are just like, yes, of course, this is not new. But to me, I love them. So, it's fantastic, and she knows me very, very well. She also got me this little sorting hat. Isn't he cute? So the next book I picked up is actually a gift for my husband. We celebrated our 1-year wedding anniversary this month, and I picked this book up for him, and that is Camino Wind by John Grisham. It is a sequel to Camino Island. I honestly have no idea what Camino Wind is about, but Camino Island I actually read, I want to say it was in December last year, so if I am correct, I'll leave a wrap-up if you want to see my full thoughts. But it's full bookish goodness, and this one is just a sequel, but I think it's more mystery than, like, this is more heisty, kind of, but heisty that deals with, like, books and, like, manuscripts for books. This one takes place on Camino Island, but it's more like murder mystery because it has to do with a contract killer. Ooh, when a hurricane and a contract killer both make a landfall on Camino Island, there's plenty of trouble in paradise. So I will be reading this one at some point because I did like Camino Island, so of course I want to read the sequel that is more mystery. Ooh, I'm excited. The next one is totally random, and I'm not entirely sure what possessed me to get it. But I'm still okay that I did. Like, I'm not upset that I got it. I just was, like, surprised that I actually took the plunge. And that is Volume 1 of Monstrous by... Ooh. Marjorie Liu is the writer, and Santa Takeda is the artist. But this is, like, a sci-fi fantasy type graphic novel series that a lot of people are talking about. It's much thicker than I thought it was going to be. But I thought I would give Volume 1 a shot just because I've heard, like, amazing things about it. And, like, just simply flipping through, the art in this book is stunning. I hope I'm not spoiling anything by showing you this. But can you see how pretty this artwork is? I just love it. And I don't own any graphic novels. Yeah, I don't own any graphic novels or mangas that I have not read yet, so I wanted to get something new. So I got the first volume, and if I like it, then I will continue with the series. So if you've read Monstrous, let me know your thoughts. The next book that I picked up is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This follows our main character, Felix Love, and he's very, very aware of the irony of his last name, but he's never been in love. But he is many things. He is black, queer, and transgender, and he just wants his happily ever after. But then he gets anonymous transphobic messages, and then someone publicly posts his dead name and pictures of him before he transitioned, and he is bent on revenge. So this gives me like Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, because I believe there's like blackmail involved in this as well, but I've heard amazing things about this, and I've never read anything by this author. I know they've got some fantasy stuff out, but I personally, oh my god, sorry, totally random. I don't know if you can notice this, but on the cover, it's got scar marks on his chest from where he had top surgery. That's like beautiful. The detail in this cover, stunning. Sorry, totally random. It just sounds amazing, and I've heard great things, so I'm excited to dive on in. Next one is one that I just found randomly and then like locked eyes on and have not been able to think of anything else. But that is I Want to Be Where You Are by Christina Forrest. So this follows our main character, Chloe, who loves to dance, and her mom has made it abundantly clear that there is going to be no dance school. However, she's not going to let that stand in her way, so she finds the nearest audition and decides to make the 200-mile trek to it. However, the next door neighbor Eli and his very smelly dog somehow get involved in this, and it seems like it's going to be a fun road trip type teen story where like maybe there's romance, we're not sure yet. I'm not usually into the road trip type books, but this one has to do with dance. And if some of you have been on my channel for a while, you know that both of my parents were professional ballet dancers, so dance is in my blood and my ancestry. So, ancestry, that makes it sound like they're ancient. That's not what I meant. Oh, dance is in my life and history. So, this just sounds amazing, and I'm there for it. This seems like a good summer book, too. The next book that I picked up was Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. So this follows our main character, Simone, who is at a new school. She's making new friends. She's involved in her school's production of Rent, and she has a very big crush on a boy named Miles, and she's just worried that the fact that she is HIV positive is gonna come out, because last time it came out, the backlash was terrible. She and this guy start dating, and sex becomes very possible for her, and the thought of telling him about her HIV is really, really scary. And then she gets anonymous notes in her locker telling her that she needs to break up with Miles or the world's gonna know. So this one's also giving me like, if you took Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda and If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Rizzo and like combined them into a book, I feel like that's what this is. And it just sounds amazing. But this one's been out for a while, and I just like never knew what it was about. And then I discovered what it was about recently, and I said, yes. The next one is one of my anticipated releases for the year, and it's a thick one. I did not know it was going to be this thick. But that is My Calamity Jane by the Lady Janies, which are Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is the third in their Lady Janies series. They had My Lady Jane, My Plain Jane, and now My Calamity Jane. And this one follows Calamity Jane, which is kind of like a Wild West feel, but also like Annie Oakley is going to get involved. And like, I know nothing about the Wild West or Calamity Jane specifically, but I don't care because I love these authors. I love them working together because their books are so funny, and I just love them. The next 3 books I'm actually going to do together because they are all part of the same series, and that is the Reluctant Royals series by Alyssa Cole, which is a princess in theory, a duke by default, and a prince on paper. Now, these are books that or at least the first one is one that I've heard of and it sounded really interesting, but I didn't really know anything about it. And then Zoe from Zoe's All Booked raves about this series. And of course I had to get my own copy of these because like I'm in like a romance mass market paperback mood, which is a problem because I don't have any of those on my July TBR. But I had to get these 3 because also the covers are just so pretty, but they all have to do with royalty and they're all like romances. If this is not my brand, I do not know what is. So I don't really remember what each of these is about, but I do know that like they all have to do with royalty and they all have to do with romance, and I'm there for all of it. So I'm so excited about all of these. Yay. Similarly, and kind of sort of maybe the same vein, is The Wedding Bargain by Victoria Alexander. So I actually learned about this from Lisa from Remarkably Lisa's channel. She's like the romance queen, and she talks a lot about romances, and I discovered this from when she hauled it on her channel, and it sounded amazing. And it's this like super fun floppy copy that's like, it's new, but I'm not afraid I'm gonna break the spine, which makes me so incredibly happy. Okay, I usually don't read the back of books, but I just need to read this one for you because it's not very long and it's utterly ridiculous, but I love it, and it's exactly why I bought it. Cool. London's most scandalous beauty, Pandora Effington, intends to marry a hero. Not one of those boring run-of-the-mill bachelor lords who leave her cold. No, the husband she desires must be someone special, someone whose touch sends delicious shivers down her spine, and who will do absolutely everything in his power to win her love. Someone like Maximilian Wells. The dashing Earl of Trent cannot believe his ears or his eyes. Here before him stands beautiful Pandora Effington. What a name, right? And the fiery, unattainable heiress is making him the most tantalizing offer. Maximilian can have the lady's hand in marriage if he agrees to play a game of her devising, one involving great risk, ingenuity, passion, and determination. So this just seems like a steamy, fun, good time. And y'all know I love historical romances as well. So I just had to. I promise we're getting close to the end. The next one that I picked up was The Boundless by Anna Bright. Now this is the sequel to The Beholder, which I read in August, I want to say. This one is also a very thick book. So obviously I don't want to tell you too much about this one, mostly because I personally haven't looked at the inside of it yet, but it is the sequel. But the first one follows our main character, whose name is Celia. But she is heiress to this, like, she's not like a queen, but like her dad's like a lord of some area, and so she's heiress to that. But her stepmother does not want her to have it. So she sends her off on this ridiculous journey to find a prince and basically says, hey, you can't come back unless you're married. And so this just follows whatever happens in that one. But this cover is just so pretty. But I'm really excited to continue with the story because I did really enjoy the first one. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it a lot. And I don't want to wait too long before I read this one because I don't want to forget what happens in the first book because I'm really good at that. And the very last book that I picked up in the month of June, I honestly didn't think this one was going to come in time because it didn't tell me it was going to show up until it was here. And that is Mary B., An Untold Story of Pride and Prejudice by Catherine J. Chin. This is exactly what it sounds like. It follows Mary, the middle Bennet sister of Pride and Prejudice, and I believe it follows her through the events of Pride and Prejudice, and then beyond that. Oh, wait, this takes place after Pride and Prejudice, I believe, not during Pride and Prejudice. Because it basically says that she's watching her sisters get married off one by one, and then trying to figure out what's going to happen. But then it sounds like there's going to be scandal and tragedy and romance around her life, and I'm so ready for it. I'm very excited about it. It sounds amazing. Mary Bennett has always interested me, and I'm just really excited to give this one a shot. Mary needs her due. She needs to have some fun times, and I'm excited to see what this author has devised for her. Those are all of the books that I have acquired in the June. Why do I talk like that? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've heard of any of the books that I have mentioned in this video, or you've read any of them, I would love to know your thoughts down below. But with that being said, I think that's really about all I have for you guys. So if you did like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I have all my social media down there as well if you want to just follow me on any of those, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.